So as a trader, how is it that you transcend just the average person watching what's going on out in the world and saying, "Oh, I think that's going up, so I'm gonna buy it"? What do you do that's different than just the regular guy that's seeing that, hey, a lot of people are going to work on their deck, probably better buy lumber now?
Well, as a trader, I would say there's advantages and disadvantages because this has never happened. And so really, really, really smart people are blowing up. And I hate to say this, but I like when really smart people get it wrong. So not that I'm asking an engineer to build a bridge and it falls, but you didn't see a lot of people promoting negative $40 crude oil, but it went there. And so when smart people blow up, it creates opportunity, which is in our industry, we call volatility. No different than when your wife asks you to do something and you don't do it, she becomes volatile, just like mine. And I become volatile. Well, the markets became really, really, really volatile. And that's where the opportunity is created. I always tell people, and I like to watch videos on Warren Buffett, buy things you use and like. I recently spent a ton of money on tech stuff, and I've been looking at what's in, who made this ring light, the camera says Canon, who made this laptop, what parts are in this laptop. Oh, NVIDIA made this card, and there's all types of tech names. I mean, as you know, a $50 webcam right now is going for $200 on the black market. So there's a tech shortage, and the whole world went virtual, and there'll be a trade. I can't predict when, but there'll be a trade when we start to leave virtual and go back to more selling the NASDAQ, buying the Dow Jones. That's been happening the last few days. Someone watching this weeks, months, years from now, that advice will be sold by the time they see it. It won't even be funny. So there's been a huge move in tech. Tech's up about 30% on the year. Other stocks are actually down on the year still. So I'm not one. Everyone, I had all these people call me who work in all types of industries. A bodybuilder called me, said he has a Robinhood account and he's going to buy the airlines and the shipbuilders. I just kind of giggled. So when people who aren't involved in our industry start telling you what they're going to buy, I kind of wonder where'd they get their skewed information from.
Yeah, I remember. So I bought a house one time with a business partner, and we renovated it and sold it. And the reason that we got out so fast, when we were in, it was going really well. We liked the renovations we were doing. But then we were at a party one time, and somebody mentioned that house flipping was a really great way to make money, and that they were also going to do it. And they thought that it was like an easy way to turn money. And so we came home from that party, my business partner and I, and we were like, we got to get out, and we got to get out now. And lo and behold, I mean, we were a little bit early, maybe about a year and a half before the housing crisis really hit. But it was one of those things that you start realizing once the herd is all moving in a direction, and that information has flown from the early adopters out into the middle of the distribution, time to get out.
Yeah, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and I don't like to own anything even towards the upper part of the middle. I'm not the world's greatest trader or speculator. I'm a commodity broker, but I've been involved in markets for a long time. And there's a pattern, there's a psychology, and greed will make people do things that they'll look back and be embarrassed years later. And so we've just seen that in soybeans. Soybeans had traded up over $1.50, and last week the phone was just ringing with people telling me how beans are going to $12 and $13. And I said, well, why didn't you know this 3 weeks ago when they were on? So it's amazing how bullish people get at the top and how bearish people get at the bottom. And I could almost predict it, Vance. When the markets really, really, really had a bad run going down in grains, particularly working with farmers, there's a certain group of guys, when they call, I just almost smile and go, wow, so-and-so waited for corn to drop $1 and now he's selling, and he said the market's going to zero. Well, you usually want to buy when people are doing that. It sounds mean, but if you could learn more of the psychology of the market and just be better at trying not to be emotional. And that's why there's so many algorithms. So really smart people decided that humans are too emotional, and they let the computers drive the market. But I'll tell you one thing I learned during the pandemic. They'll shut those computers off. When the you-know-what's hitting the fan, they shut those computers off. And there was a time for about a month and a half that the only people, not the only, that's a bold statement, but some of the only people trading the markets were humans. There was a time when only humans were making decisions because the markets were so volatile. And that was just an incredible, incredible moment in history.
Well, I was watching something to your earlier point about airlines is that the ticket prices are set by algorithms, and it's based on how many people are coming, and it's trying to match supply and demand. And what happened was, as the number of people buying tickets went down, then all of the airlines started saying, okay, well, we're going to drop the price. And then less people were doing it. So they were like, oh, we got to drop it even more. And that's what led to all these other things going on, because you weren't selling seats. So then the algorithms that tie how many seats we're selling to how much fuel we need to buy start triggering. And that then leads into this weird cascade. And I think that the only way you could pull that out is because you can't predict that's going to happen until it happens. So you can't teach the algorithms what they should do in this weird moment that's been unprecedented. And those algorithms have to learn from something. So to your point of taking them off of the computers and putting them on human beings.
Yeah. So I have a friend who works for a very successful black box company. You can call them black box, gray box algorithms. Some of them have there's a computer running the program, but there's a human kind of babysitting the computer. And he flat out said we had over 12 programs running, and at peak craziness, they were all off, which really alerted me that it's time for the humans to get in there and try to buy low and sell high. And there were days where the Dow Jones was down 1,800. Someone would think they're buying low and it would be down 2,400. And then later in the day, it would only close down a couple hundred. So there was no buying the low and selling the high, but there was definitely everything in the middle. And my wife, Gina, had asked me, we worked together, and she said, do you think the markets will, this was about 6 weeks before the pandemic. She said, do you think the markets will ever get busy again like they were in 08 and 11 when you were, if you're going to associate making a lot of money with success? I would say I changed my opinion on what success is, but I said, no, I could just tell you the markets will never get as volatile as they were in 08 and 11. Fast forward 6-8 weeks, and I look at her and I go, remember how I told you it would never get as busy as 08 or 11? It's twice as busy, twice as crazy, and that's what I get for telling you never. Never's a long time. And if you've lost someone you loved, you'd remember that when they die, forever's a long time. And so, how stupid of me, how arrogant, what a cavalier attitude to tell my wife that it would never get busy again. I'm lucky I didn't get hurt during the pandemic financially instead of benefiting from it.
Thanks for checking out this podcast short. If you like this interview, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and hit that bell so you always get notified about this podcast. And if you're really interested in conversations like this, you may want to consider joining the Articulate Ventures Network. To find out more, go to network.articulate.ventures.